Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and I'm super excited today to be presenting to you guys this all-new Maserati GranCabrio Trofeo. The Maserati GranCabrio is an iconic model dating back to the early beginning days of Maserati with their drop-top variants of their gorgeous performance luxury vehicles, and this latest GranCabrio does not disappoint, building off the pillars of the GranCabrio name, being that open-top elegance, performance, cutting-edge technology, and of course, that thrilling Maserati experience. I'm really excited today to bring you guys on a full tour and review of this gorgeous vehicle that we've been driving over the past few days, with the gorgeous design, amazing Nettuno engine under the hood, and of course, a high-tech and pretty luxurious interior made for four. Let's go dive in and go into all of the amazing features of this all-new GranCabrio Trofeo. So what's under the hood powering this all-new Maserati GranCabrio? Well, it's not necessarily just a hood. This is what we call a Cofango. We've heard this term before, and essentially what it is combining the words for hood and fender into one term. That's exactly what's happening here. Maserati has one of the largest Cofangos, I would say, in the industry right now, where it combines this hood and fender element into one really amazingly sculpted piece, and it allows these fender arches to be really high pointed, which allows you as a driver to have a great view of where the road is, as the hood is able to go really down low, and you have a really great idea of where the front tires are. But it also just looks absolutely gorgeous, and it still opens like a traditional hood. So let's go have a look at this Nettuno engine under here. Underneath the Cofango, of course, here we have the engine, the 3-liter twin turbocharged Nettuno V6. Now, this is a common engine shared with a lot of Maseratis, including its twin, the GranCabrio, but it also shares its roots with the MC20 Supercar, though it is just a little bit different. This features a wet sump oil system versus the dry sump system found in that higher performance vehicle there, but this is still a very high performance vehicle, making 542 horsepower. So it's not slow whatsoever. Now, what Maserati has done here is some really unique things. Like I mentioned, we have that 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, but this is paired to an all-wheel drive system. And this front differential was positioned in a very unique way where it's literally right in front of the, well, right towards the front of the engine. And this is allowing the engine to both be really far back, but also really down low, and the chassis allowing for really good positioning and lower center of gravity. And you can definitely see that right under the hood. This is how much space you have between the front of the engine and the front of the car. The steering rack is actually in front of the engine, making this almost a sort of front mid-engine vehicle, which I think is really, really cool. Now, this entire system is really unique as well, as it is a 100% Maserati designed project from the ground up, and they were able to develop this car from the get-go with this convertible in mind. So it's a very rigid, stiff chassis. It's over 60% aluminum, I believe, and it's also making use of things like magnesium and high-performance steel throughout this architecture to help keep weight down and maintain that really nice rigidity we'd expect out of a $230,000 Maserati. Now, another special feature of this Maserati Nettuno engine is the Maserati twin combustion system. So as you may have heard already, this engine features a pre-combustion chamber, allowing the fuel to be more efficiently combusted before going into the actual combustion chamber, more of an efficient engine process. And combined with other things like cylinder deactivation, this is a little bit more of an efficient engine to use on a day-to-day basis in this format versus something you're going to find in the MC20. So honestly, MPG, if you do care about that in this vehicle, is actually not that bad. You can get into the 20s, which is really not bad for a long grand touring trip. And I've seen ranges on this fuel tank well north of 300 miles. And of course, this vehicle gets even more advanced as well. It has a 100% Maserati designed digital architecture as well, allowing all of the components to kind of talk to each other in a unique way and in a Maserati way, how they want this car to be driving. And that all tunes in with the different drive modes, as well as this adaptive air suspension as well, that also builds into the drive modes. It also kind of works as a front lift as well if you want to not hit your carbon fiber little bits up front over there as well. We also have Maserati's advanced dynamic skyhook style suspension system and dampers, so that can allow for instantly and really impressive differences between a sport and a comfort damper setting. It makes wonders for bumpy, pothole filled roads like we have here in New York. Okay guys, this is a great tour of stuff going on under the hood. Let's go have a look at the rest of the design and other features of this amazing GranCabrio. course, one of the pillars of this all-new GranCabrio is its elegant and gorgeous design language, and Maserati took an approach that was more in line of keeping those amazing, gorgeous lines of the previous generation GranCabrio and Gran Turismo, and this particular one is finished in this pretty gorgeous shade of Grigio Matera. I hope I didn't butcher that too much, but it's essentially a matte gray sort of metallic finish paint, and it does a wonderful job at showing off the incredible arches and body lines of this vehicle very, very well. And this whole new fascia, even though it is kind of inspired or very heavily inspired by the previous generation, we have a lot of new design elements derived from the newer design debuted on the MC20 Supercar. And our first notion of that is right down here in the headlight elements. So these full LED headlights are pretty much very inspired by that MC20 Supercar. So we have these really distinctive horizontal LED accents that kind of swoop up into this design pattern over here. I love the little Trident and Maserati badges in there as well. Very bright, very great on the road, so no complaints there. Coming down over here to the signature iconic Maserati oval shaped grille over here, we have this really unique sculpted design. It's a very, very low end front fender point here. And this, as a driver, like I mentioned earlier, is really great for you because you can really see the road, and as well as these where the wheels are with these incredibly sharp and large fender flares right there. Now down here we have this signature Trident designed grille, and since we have the full adaptive driving assistance package on this one, we have our Maserati Trident in the 3D design, but it's actually hiding all of those sensors back there, so there's not like a giant bulky camera thing on the front of the vehicle, though we do have cameras hidden up here for your full 360-degree view camera system, which works very well and is very helpful to ensuring you don't scrape your front little lip over here. Coming over to the wheel design area over here, I do want to point out the nice little carbon accents right up front as part of the sport design package. But here we have a staggered wheel setup. So all the GranCabrio Trofeos are getting 20-inch wheels up front with 21-inch wheels in the back. And this particular one is the Astro design. And this is diamond cut metallic finish here. So we have this really nice machined front over here with this dark kind of graphite material in the back over there. I think this is a very gorgeous looking wheel. Of course, we have a very slim sidewall on this one, very sporty performance oriented rubber on this particular vehicle as well, P0s from Pirelli. And we have the optional red calipers on this Trofeo as well. You can get a few different colors. And if you go for Maserati's bespoke series, you can pretty much do whatever you want, of course, if you have the cost. And I always love how Maserati brings their Trident logo throughout every aspect of their design language. Even on the wheels, we have these little indentations throughout the wheel, kind of marking that Trident design language right there. Joining me out back on the rear of the all-new Maserati GranCabrio, we can see, of course, the fabric soft top up here, and you can get this in a few different colors. This is the black version, as we have it right here, and this is a fantastic top. We actually get real glass back here with heated elements, a nice little Maserati Trident in there as well, and this is a very thick soft top. It's not a rag top of the past, as some may say. It's borderline a hard top, just a little bit more compact and a little more lighter than a traditional full hard top convertible. And I can tell you right now, it keeps heat inside of this vehicle very, very well. It was like 30 degrees the other day, had the heat on, went to go grab some dinner, came back in after like an hour, and it was still warm in the cabin. So this is actually really impressive, and it keeps sound from the outside out so well. But other than this amazing soft top, which can open and close up to 31 miles per hour, we are also getting the optional carbon fiber rear spoiler on this particular GranCabrio Trofeo, which looks absolutely gorgeous, of course. And of course, we have a not fully power, but a boot lid over here. I wish it was actually a full power boot lid. And this is, of course, the one area which most convertibles don't do the best on, is the rear storage space. And this GranCabrio is not too different. I'm not too sure if this is the best GT car in that sense, because this rear trunk space is a little bit on the smaller side. I believe you could fit up to like 3 little like suitcase style bags back here. You can fold this little piece up over there and kind of shove them in. Maybe 1 or 2 carry-ons potentially. If you don't have rear passengers, you can put some stuff back there, but it is definitely on the smaller side. Back here under the floor, you're going to find your battery mounted quite low back here. Very European style design there, but it's not the biggest trunk space. And of course, like I said, if you want to put the top down, you do have to fold this little lever out there, and it reduces the space even more so. But I would personally go for the coupe version, the Gran Turismo versus this GranCabrio, but that is just a personal taste of mine. Out back here though, the design again is very, very unique and distinct to Maserati and draws very much so from the previous generations. I love these LED taillights back here. I think they're very sharp, very distinctly Maserati. And I love Maserati's logo back here as well as their GranCabrio script and this really nice, unique, dark gunmetal metallic finish. But you're not going to find any Trofeo badging back here. That again is primarily just going to be on your front Cofango fender. Also back here, we're going to find these absolutely massive quad exhaust tips, as well as a diffuser back here and some vintage. And you can, of course, you can see those little nods to that Maserati Trident design here up here and in the lower down bumper area over there as well. And of course, this thing sounds pretty good, even though it has a V6 and not a V8. I think it still sounds pretty fantastic. So let's have a listen to that right now. Of course, unlocked. We have full keyless access as well. I don't really need to use the key fob. And I like how the door handles are almost recessed into the doors over here. And there is a bath of leather, aluminum, carbon fiber in this entire interior. I love this absolutely massive aluminum side sill plate here with the Maserati script that illuminates at night, of course. And we have our absolutely gorgeous solid aluminum pedals right there, as well as our dead pedal with the Maserati Trident right there on the brake pedal. I like this little ode right here to the founding of Maserati in 1914, as well as our gorgeous door panels that are completely bathed in leather from top down to the bottom. Even in the door cards are fully stitched leather, which is really nice. Nice metal trim going through the doors with this contrast red stitching. And we'll find our massive Sonus Faber speakers. We have the upgraded Sonus Faber sound system in this particular car, and it's these gorgeous full metal speakers up here, down here in the rear seats as well. And we even have these little additional side tweeters up there. But let's hop inside and check out this amazing interior. Getting in is also quite easy, which I actually quite like. Solid door thunk here with massive door on this vehicle. And just have a look at this all new interior space from Maserati. Let's start it up and see what's going on. You're going to find your engine start stop button on our lower left side over here with this gorgeous blue little switch right here. And we're also going to find our drive mode stuck there. But let's start it up. Mirrors unfold. We have our unique Maserati horn chime there, which is really interesting. It's like the sound of, like, I think Italian horns, but that's also the sound for our lock and unlock buttons here. Have a listen to this. This is the new Maserati interior design, and I am so sick of people just not liking their new stuff, because this is really impressive. If you go from Maseratis of old, even the last decade, this is a galactic step increase in terms of quality, incredible high technology, and I have had zero issues with this vehicle in terms of technological stuff, other than the shifter, which I'll get to in a little bit. But I love this new steering wheel from Maserati. Let's start with our driver's zone over here. So we do have a heads-up display, which I'm honestly not the biggest fan of. I think it could be a little bit brighter, but even though the information in there is quite good, but what I am a big fan of is this steering wheel. I love how it comes directly straight out at you from the chassis, since we're really low down in this vehicle. And of course, we have our drive mode selector over here, which feels very nice, as well as a damper control right there. And of course, we have the signature iconic full aluminum paddle shifters mounted to the column. Listen to this. Just love those as well. And we also have adaptive and fully LED headlights with an easy access button right here for our active lane management system, which I really like, is right there, and a fully adaptive wipers as well, which work great. And in this center console area over here, in this leather surrounded dual touchscreen panel here, is honestly one of my favorite infotainment systems in a high performance vehicle that I have experienced. It is not only easy to access and use, and actually not very difficult to see at all. It's quick, and I've had no issues. It's essentially the Uconnect style system reskinned and redesigned as a Maserati intelligent assistant here, and I think it works very, very well. We have this lower screen panel over here, which controls a variety of functions, including adjusting our digital Maserati clock here. So if you go to this little panel here, you'll see you have a few different options here to adjust how you want to look at your clock. Since it's fully digital, we can make it a compass, we can make it our pedals, so if I put it on the accelerator, it'll show power. Same thing with the brake pressure, which is kind of cool. And you can make it even a G meter as well, which is really fun. And the clock has 3 different designs, from classic, sport, which gives us a second pattern around it, and a design feature, which is a little bit more modern, but I like to leave it in sport and just let it stay there pretty much all the time, and it has a really nice finish around it, and I think it looks gorgeous. I wish more automakers would kind of copy this, because this is really, really cool. Also down here, we have a few other controls, such as our additional seat controls. We will find our memory seats in here. We can adjust our side bolster support, our lower thigh side bolster support, as well as a thigh extender support. Same thing goes for our passengers over here. And the seats are very, very comfortable. They almost fit like a glove, I would say. You can see our lower thigh support area over here. Very comfortable, stitched in leather, lots and lots of support. And we have the optional Maserati Trident over here, stitched into the headliner as well in red, which is gorgeous. We're also going to find our air scarf right here, since this is a convertible, and that also can be controlled via this little button here, which works perfectly. You're also going to find your control to open your convertible top over here. So you literally just swipe it left and right to open it and hold. Takes a little bit of some time, 14 seconds or 16 seconds, depending if you're opening or closing it, up to 31 miles an hour. We also have some ambient lighting controls, not too much in terms of color, but we can change it from warm, neutral, cold, or just turn it off, and it really just accentuates these gorgeous Sonos Faber speakers over there, which I think is quite nice. You can also adjust the brightness level of those as well, which is also a fun touch, but those actually look quite nice at night. Only gripe with this screen is that it does get a little fingerprinty. We have a slider here for our volume, which, you know, works actually totally fine. But again, you can see some fingerprints there, but you can also use the control behind the steering wheel. I don't like this shifter. Maserati says this new button style shifter design is designed to kind of open up space over here, but I really don't like it at all. I didn't like it in some other vehicles that use this button style shifter on the center console, and I'm not the biggest fan of it here. It just doesn't feel super high end or premium. I kind of wish they could just, you know, pop into drive here and they'll have like a reverse button somewhere, but, you know, hopefully they'll kind of maybe reconsider this down the road. But the rest of this whole system works quite well. Same thing with the actual infotainment screen as well. It's huge and it's incredibly quick, which I really like. There's been no issues at all this week. Apple CarPlay works well. You can use Android Auto. You can customize all these screens. I built this shortcut page out here myself in like 30 seconds. You can have a Sonos Faber system here to kind of see what's going on with your audio system there. You have a great 360 camera system as well, which allows you to really get up and close to your front splitter area over there if you want to make sure everything's going fine as well. And you also have a lot of other fun kind of technical gauges, which you can expand to take up the whole screen if you do choose to have so. And there's so many different things you kind of go through in here. You have your full torque management showing you the power distribution to all four wheels. This is a very familiar screen. We've seen this in other products, but I think this is pretty cool if you do want to do some timing as well. You have accessory gauges and of course the technical gauges, and your car screen over here gives you a lot more fun information from tire pressure, oil level, and the drive mode explorer is one of my favorite actually. So it kind of shows what's happening in each drive mode. We'll kind of go through our drive mode controller over here. So we have comfort as our kind of most comfort focused setting we have here. It's going to give you a cool little background as well as what's happening with this drive mode. Pop it over to GT and it's going to give you a different little design back there, which is kind of cool. We have like a city skyline. Sport as well, you can hear the exhaust opens up. This is where you're going to get some more dynamic stuff. You can see our chart changes, and of course the most extreme Corsa that turns off traction control. Everything is in its most advanced, highest performance settings there. You can even hear the fan turn on to help additional cooling for the engine as well, which is kind of cool. Other stuff, you can even lock the glove box, which I actually like that you can still do that even though it's fully digital, and a whole bunch of other loads of settings built into the system as well. And honestly, like I said, it works totally fine. No issues with this. We have a navigation system if you want to use the built-in navigation, easy phone control, and more additional apps if you want to kind of add things to your shortcuts up here, which is kind of cool. You even have a Wi-Fi hotspot, so if you have some rear passengers that want to connect to the internet, if you need to take a business call on Teams or something, you can do so in your Maserati GranCabrio. Otherwise, there's not many too technical features in here. I do like this digital display over here. I've seen this in some other Stellantis Group products, as well as some other Maserati products as well, including the Growl SUV. And I actually quite like it, but I don't like too much are these buttons. I think they work totally fine. The layout makes sense. I wish they would feel a little bit more, maybe metal. I think that would be a nice material to kind of make them out of, but I think they work fine. They just get a little fingerprinty. But yeah, this interior is pretty good. I like this center console area over here, and I think Maserati was smart in making sure there was enough storage spaces for everything. So you have a nice space for your phone underneath this lower infotainment screen, which is great for a wireless charger, which is found right here. You can see this gorgeous carbon fiber, 3D carbon fiber textured trim over here on the center console, which opens up this little storage cubby, which is felt lined over here, which I quite like. You have 2 cup holders over here, which actually can be expanded to 1 giant cup holder, though this 2 version is not the biggest cup holder size I've ever seen. It can be a little bit bigger, but you know, it's a Maserati. If you are only one person, you can have 1 giant cup right in the center. And of course, this red stitching blends all together very well in our center armrest over here, which is fully leather wrapped, nice and comfortable. Opening this up, we got some more storage, which isn't the most amount of storage, I would say, but I think it's a decent size. We have a USB-C and USB-A port as well with a 12-volt socket. It's enough room for some sunglasses, and your key fob can go in there if you want to start the vehicle that way, or if the battery is low and you need to start the vehicle that way as well. Up over here, you're actually, like I said, you're not going to find your controls for your hard top or your soft top controls. That's going to be in this lower screen, but we do have controls up here for interior lighting as well. Some assistance functions as well up there. We have some microphones as well. But yeah, overall, guys, this is a nice interior. I think it's really, really nice. In this class of vehicle, you know, we're looking at like an Aston Martin or Ferrari, Roma and stuff, especially at this price point. And I think this definitely stands out amongst the bunch with a unique design, unique technology components in here. Everything works very well, which I'm very pleased by. I love the driving position as well. It's very comfortable. You have a lot of amenities. I think Maserati did a good job on this one. Again, my only real gripe is the shifter area over here. I really, really want to see this change. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And maybe some more unique options, but of course we have that Fiero Siri department that customers can go through to totally build this interior out to yourself. We even have Alcantara on these headliners over here, which looks absolutely gorgeous. More speakers up here. And I would actually also like to see a digital rear view mirror. Even though the visibility is not that bad, I think those are really helpful in a lot of these more performance cars, because the rear visibility just always isn't good because of how their unique design language is. But let's go take this thing on a drive, open and close the top, and see how it is out on the road. Once you're going, the car feels fantastic, and I think Maserati has done a great job in this latest generation GranCabrio and Gran Turismo of blending that high performance nature while also adding in that kind of GT luxury feel in here. This is a Grand Tourer after all at the end of the day, and we'll get to why I don't think it's the best Grand Tourer. I might want to go for the coupe version versus this cabriolet, but driving experience wise, I actually think this is quite nice, and I think it fits that Grand Tourer name quite well. We're going over some broken pavement over here, and this air suspension combined with the adaptive dampers does, I think, a great job at really soaking up the bumps. It doesn't feel stiff. If you go to like a high-end M car, or if you go to a high-end AMG car, even the GLA 35 these days are really, really stiff over these broken pavements. This balances it out very, very well. It has that grand touring effect. We even have auto stop start, as you can see right here. Instantly puts it into the sport suspension system. Coming around corners, grip is pretty high actually, especially with this all-wheel drive system. I really was impressed with that over the course of this week. And in sport mode, it really opens itself up, especially the exhaust. And even in this sport damper setting, you can instantly pop it over to comfort dampers here. And even broken pavement makes this car still feel pretty dynamic. Love the paddle shifters, really responsive. And this ZF, you know, the Stellantis group, at least the Italian side of it, has really found a great way of tuning this gearbox really, really well. Very strong brakes, as we would expect out of a Trofeo model. And I have to say, I do quite like this car. Is it expensive? Yes. Do a lot of people wish it had the V8? Yes, and honestly, I do too in some applications. This V6 is really characterful. It's very responsive. I think it has a great engine note, like I mentioned in person. Good power as well. It puts the power down very, very well. But, you know, it's just not as special as that raucous, louder V8 of the past GranCabrio and Gran Turismo that was derived from Ferrari, and the high revving, naturally aspirated there.
This is a very different nature of this car. And the one thing though, I think is Maserati has done a great job at kind of characterizing each of the drive modes to really fit this engine. This was really discussed well with the MC20 Supercar, which also shares this engine, a little bit more power, flipped around of course from mid-engine format. But I like how this car can totally change its persona. So in comfort, it really is genuinely comfort. The throttle response is a little bit softer. The exhaust quiets down until you kind of break it into those higher RPM range, and the suspension really is honestly just great for daily driving. Really no complaints there whatsoever. GT is really a good blended mode, I would say. It gives you that performance when you want it. You have a little bit more throttle response. Everything's a little bit more attuned to, you know, if you want to take a little bit more performance control out of the car, you have that ability to. So that's also a nice mode here. And of course, instantly next up is the sport mode. And that really does heighten things a little bit more. Your throttle response is a little bit more aggressive. Steering definitely gets much sharper. And the steering rack is a little bit on the light side, but it's incredibly precise in all applications, which I really like. And the gear shifts get a little bit quicker in sport mode as well. You can instantly put them back into automatic mode as well, just by holding down the pedal shifter over to the right. And then of course Corsa just goes full on insane over here. So we're not going to use that right now, but you do have that ability as well. And of course in sport mode, like I mentioned, you can put the dampers back into comfort damper setting just via the touch of this button, which is a wonderful feature. But just carving around these outside back roads over here, I think it's just a really well balanced car. It handles well. It is a little bit on the heavier side, around like 4,600 pounds, but you know, it's a 2+2 convertible Grand Tourer, so it handles that weight pretty well actually. It's very low to the ground, very low center of gravity. We have And another great part about this car is that this one particularly has the upgraded adaptive driver assistance package. So if you are on a long grand tour somewhere, all you have to do is pop this little button over here on, press the centerpiece to activate the lane centering and lane keep assist, and voila, it is basically driving itself, which is really cool. It doesn't have like that automatic lane change thing, but you don't really need that in a driver's car at the end of the day. And I really like this other screen layout here, where it really shows you everything that's happening in this view. So if you like the tech side of this car, you can kind of see some more information regarding this adaptive driver system. If there's like a vehicle driving to the left or right of you on the highway as well, it'll show that, which is pretty nice. And it works very well coming to a stop start in traffic, and it's easy to access, turn on and off via just one touch of a button. And I like how they give you the ability to turn on and off your lane keep assist via the touch of that little stalk right there. So sometimes when you're driving, you don't really, or really driving the car, you don't really want that lane assist kind of intervening all the time. So I like that you don't have to dig through menus to actually turn that off. And if you want a full map display, you got that as well. So this all new GranCabrio is very tech focused. Coming onto the highway as well on this on-ramp, lots and lots of grip, lots of power as well. You know, even for this twin turbo V6, this thing kicks really hard and gets up to speed very quickly. Now, another great feature of this car, and this one has the upgraded Sonus Faber sound system, and I have to say, honestly really did impress me. There are these massive metal speakers around the entire interior, even up in the headliner over here and on the doors, and I was a little bit skeptical of this audio system at first. I had a small brief moment of testing it out in a Maserati GranCabrio about 2 years ago, but I really didn't get to kind of put it to the real usage here. But it is a fantastic audio system, and a lot of these more higher end cars that kind of focus more on performance, they don't always have the best audio systems, and we're seeing more and more like Bang & Olufsen and Bowers & Wilkins systems come into play, but this one honestly is quite good. So I'm going to play our audio test song right here. We have a haptic touch button over here to adjust our volume, or we can adjust it from our steering wheel over here, and we even have a special Sonus Faber visualizer screen over here, which is pretty nice. But have a listen to this. little audio test there, guys, but I have to say it's very, very crystal clear. And if you are able to go in and adjust all the various modes in there, you can kind of switch to like a reference style mode if you want to kind of listen to your music in that way, or this mode that we have it in right now, which I think is much better for kind of more daily music. But really crystal clear audio. Bass is pretty strong as well, and a lot of the other adjustments are really great, kind of moving everything around in there. So I think a great audio system.